Hi guys, it's Burp here and welcome to today's exclusive video report. And today, briefly, I'm going to introduce the analysis, the technical approach to Bitcoin USD spot price with a daily chart, okay, on Bitstamp exchange spot price. And I think it is very apparent, first off, of course, having some time to close off the day with under 7 hours to go. We are looking at a price action that technically and arguably looks like a potential fake out setup. In terms of we see, they're looking at a support which had just got kind of like broken, and Bitcoin is in the middle of, attempting to establish a fake out candle or a hammer candle, something regardless of the name, that actually after breaching through a support, it manages to climb right back above it. Okay, this is technically a potentially bullish setup, as it kind of like inverts the sentiment throughout the day, because this is a daily chart. So each and every single candle out of these in the sequence tells you about how the price of history develops throughout days. And having that, this kind of like a I should say insight in here over here, we're looking at a short-term consolidation which potentially marks a bottom, as long as we see a daily close above the broken support, which is approximately 39,200, right? So something like that. So if we manage to close the day above it, seems quite apparent and more likely than not that we see at least a short-term upwards, kind of like a pullback recovery, potentially to the local resistance, which arguably is at around 42.5k. And potentially again, if this turns out to be the real bottom, I could see the price action of Bitcoin, continuing to recover into the $44,000, which is the main level line and apparent resistance at a out of all the levels up here on the daily chart, arguably which aligns very well also with the price action based data, right? So we're looking at, here previously before the drop happened, over here after the failed breakout above $46,000, we are looking at a first attempt to break the levels at around $45,000, followed by a local increase and an hour kind of like a decrease, and then the sharp sell-off, right? So we're looking at, again, the level of potential support levels clustering prior to the breakout to the downside at around $46,000. So I would argue that if we manage to close the day in a bullish manner today, potentially this brings some setup for a potential reversal, right? And this potential reversal basically tells you that, like it or not, bears like it or not, that there is a chance to retest to the upside, to retrace this corrective movement to the downside, okay, here towards the area converging with cluster of resistances here at around $44,000-$45,000. This is the way I see it, right? If we manage to claim a close above this level, I can see this play out. Otherwise, we are likely looking at at a close of a daily close through and below $39,000, which likely is going to get kind of like magnet pulled downwards, towards 37,110. 37,110 is the next level line on the daily chart, and it is very apparent. And also backed by additional kind of like filter, I would argue, region of the price action that Bitcoin utilized or bounced off before in a quite more or less aggressive manner, right? So each and every single time prior to this kind of like attempt to visit this region, Bitcoin had found strong support out there, right, backed by each and every single kind of like a sell-off, especially that's where the sell-off stopped, especially if you even played on the line chart, right? So this is very apparent support and resistance, and you can tell very easily how Barbigator Pro actually tells you the real story, just in a matter of displaying this in milliseconds. Literally, it does so much and so great job. On top of that, if we do manage to reclaim and break above $44,000 as main resistance, I could see it play out potentially towards like 51,882, right? This is something that, does seem to be the next level line in terms of resistances, and of course aligns very well with this overall resistance area based on a price action, right? So no indicators apply, just the way the candlestick shaped and the wicks, the shadows on the upper end, on the lower end for the candlesticks, this seems to be quite a heavy, area of interest for traders from the technical point of view, right? So it does make sense to anticipate that prior to this major breakdown that happened in early December, basically following the Fed's rate hikes, kind of like plans reveal, you did have a lot of interest in this area prior, okay, prior to the major Joe down at 30, down towards like 30,000s. So this is my clean approach, right? In terms of the daily chart, Bitcoin breaks above it, retests it with a rounded retest. It makes sense to continue upwards and expect some sort of like $60,000 or so. Okay, in the short-term manner, we are looking, like I said, at a potential setup. It's not confirmed, but you can tell that as it climbs above $40,000, there's somewhat of a arguable intraday demand shaping in below $39,000. And if it does manage to actually just close above 39,000, it confirms this local fed up, this woke up. The market is fed up kind of like with the selling time for now, and the selling pressure kind of like steps back in favor of the bulls. And this is the way that I would read this reversal candle marked as a hammer, right? Of course, like I said, it's 6 hours, 7 hours to go, under 7 hours, so it's a little bit too early. So I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt. But this brings a potential bullish setup to the upside. All the way, other than this, of course, if we once fail to close above 39,000 as the support, right, this or this, I could see it play out further down the southern road, towards $37,000, which of course brings the main final battle and ultimate test at 37,000 area, which, as defined before, has been of very strong impact on the technical side in the chart. So that's all, folks, in terms of the daily chart, and I do think you can already take some conclusions out of that.